In a small, sleepy town nestled among rolling hills, an ancient church stands sentinel over the community. Its weathered stone walls have witnessed centuries of history, but it's the church's bell that holds a dark secret. Every night, as darkness falls, the old bell rings out across the town. It's a sound that sends shivers down the spines of locals, for they know its ominous meaning. You see, in this town, when the bell tolls, someone dies. It's been this way for as long as anyone can remember. The eerie connection between the bell's ring and a resident's demise has become an accepted part of life here. Some say it's a curse, others a twisted coincidence, but no one can deny the pattern. Night after night, the bell's mournful song echoes through the streets. And without fail, by morning, news spreads of another soul departed. The townspeople have learned to dread the sound, each ring a reminder of their own mortality. But on one fateful night, something strange happens. The bell rings as usual, its deep, resonant tones carried on the wind. The town holds its collective breath, wondering who will be next. Morning comes, and nothing. No news of death, no grieving family, no somber funeral preparations. For the first time in living memory, the bell has rung, and no one has died. The town buzzes with confusion and speculation. Has the curse been broken? Was it all just superstition after all? Some feel relief, while others can't shake a sense of unease. Something feels off, like the natural order has been disrupted. Among the bewildered residents is our protagonist, a middle-aged man who's lived in the shadow of the bell his entire life. He's both intrigued and unsettled by this turn of events. As he goes about his day, trying to make sense of it all, he can't help but feel that something momentous is about to happen. Little does he know, his world is about to be turned upside down. The next morning, as sunlight streams through his bedroom window, he notices something peculiar on his nightstand. A leather-bound book, old and worn, that he's never seen before. Curious, he opens it, and his blood runs cold. There, on the yellowed pages, he finds entries detailing deaths. Not just any deaths, but every single one that has occurred in the town, perfectly matching the nights the bell has rung. His eyes scan the pages, recognizing names, dates, all eerily accurate. But it's the final entry that makes his heart stop. His own name, written in flowing script, with yesterday's date beside it. The very day the bell rang, and no one died. He stares at the page, mind reeling. How is this possible? He's alive, isn't he? Or is he? Questions flood his mind. Is he somehow trapped between life and death? Did the bell's magic go awry? Or is there a greater mystery at play? One that challenges everything he thought he knew about life, death, and the power of that ancient church bell? As he grapples with this earth-shattering discovery, he realizes he's stumbled upon a truth far more complex and terrifying than he could have imagined. The bell that rings before someone dies has rung for him, and now he must unravel the mystery of his own apparent death before it's too late. What will he discover as he delves deeper into the secrets of the bell and the book? How will this revelation change his life and the lives of everyone in the town? The answers lie hidden in the shadows of that old church tower, waiting to be uncovered. If you're intrigued by this tale of mystery and the supernatural, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling stories. Leave a comment below with your theories about what might happen next. Will our protagonist solve the riddle of his own death, or is he doomed to a fate worse than dying? Stay tuned, and remember, sometimes the most chilling stories are the ones that blur the line between life and death. 4 friends, Jake, Sarah, Mike, and Emily, had been planning their camping trip for months. They were excited to explore a secluded spot they'd discovered online, far from the usual tourist trails. As they drove deeper into the wilderness, the anticipation built. Finally, they arrived at their destination, a clearing surrounded by dense forest, with a pristine lake shimmering in the distance. They set up camp, laughing and joking as they pitched their tents and gathered firewood. The evening was filled with stories around the campfire, marshmallows, and stargazing. As night fell, they retired to their tents, exhausted but content. The next morning, Jake was the first to wake. He unzipped his tent, expecting to see the beautiful landscape they'd admired the night before. Instead, he was met with an eerie silence and a thick fog that seemed to envelop everything around them. Confused, he called out to his friends. One by one, they emerged from their tents, equally bewildered by the change in their surroundings. Sarah tried to check her phone for the time, only to find there was no signal. Mike's GPS watch wasn't working either. It was as if they'd been cut off from the rest of the world overnight. As the fog began to lift, their confusion turned to shock. The lake they'd seen the previous day was gone, replaced by an endless expanse of trees. The clearing where they'd set up camp seemed smaller, more enclosed. Emily suggested they pack up and head back to the car, but when they tried to retrace their steps, they couldn't find the trail they'd used to get there. Panic started to set in. They'd been so excited about finding this hidden gem of a campsite that they hadn't paid much attention to landmarks on their way in. Now, every direction looked the same, just trees stretching as far as the eye could see. Jake, trying to keep everyone calm, suggested they climb to higher ground to get their bearings. They packed up their essentials and set off, leaving their tents behind as a marker. As they hiked, the forest seemed to change around them. Trees they passed looked familiar, yet different. It was as if the landscape was shifting, playing tricks on their minds. Hours passed, and they found no sign of civilization. No roads, no other campers, not even the sound of distant traffic. It was as if they'd stepped into another world entirely. Sarah voiced what they were all thinking. "Guys, I don't think this place exists on any map." As night began to fall again, they made the difficult decision to set up camp once more. They huddled together, trying to make sense of their situation. How could a place change so dramatically overnight? Where had the lake gone? And most importantly, how were they going to find their way back? That night, as they lay in their sleeping bags, strange noises echoed through the forest. Whispers that sounded almost human, yet not quite. Shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. Each of them pretended to sleep, too afraid to admit they were wide awake, listening to the impossible sounds around them. Morning brought no relief. The fog had returned, thicker than ever. They packed up quickly, determined to find a way out. But as they walked, it became clear that something was very wrong. Trees they marked to avoid going in circles reappeared in impossible places. The sun, when they could see it through the canopy, seemed to jump positions in the sky. Days blended together. Their food supplies dwindled. The forest seemed to be toying with them, leading them in circles no matter which direction they chose. They began to wonder if they'd ever see their homes again, or if they were doomed to wander this impossible campground forever. Just when all hope seemed lost, they stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood an old, weathered signpost. As they approached, their hearts racing, they saw faded letters spelling out a warning. Beware the campground that doesn't exist. The friends looked at each other, a mix of fear and determination in their eyes. They knew then that finding their way home would be the greatest challenge of their lives. But they also knew that together, they stood a chance of unraveling the mystery of the campground that doesn't exist on any map. If you enjoyed this chilling tale of four friends lost in an impossible forest, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. What do you think happened to Jake, Sarah, Mike, and Emily? Share your theories in the comments below. The quiet suburban neighborhood was known for its peaceful nights, but for Sarah, those nights had become a source of unrelenting terror. Every evening, as the clock struck 3:33 a.m., a mysterious knock echoed through her house, sending chills down her spine. At first, she thought it was just her imagination playing tricks on her, but as the knocks persisted night after night, Sarah knew something sinister was afoot. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah decided to take matters into her own hands. She set up a hidden camera near her front door, hoping to catch a glimpse of the nocturnal visitor. As she lay in bed that night, her heart racing with anticipation, she couldn't help but wonder what the footage would reveal. The next morning, Sarah rushed to check the camera, her hands trembling as she rewound the footage. What she saw made her blood run cold. There, on the screen, was a tall, shadowy figure approaching her door at precisely 3:33 a.m. But that wasn't all. To her horror, the mysterious man didn't just knock and leave. Instead, he began to circle her house, peering into windows and testing doorknobs. Sarah's mind raced with questions. Who was this man? What did he want? And why did he choose her house? As she watched the footage over and over again, she noticed something even more disturbing. The man seemed to know exactly where the cameras were placed, avoiding their direct line of sight with eerie precision. Desperate for answers, Sarah reached out to her neighbors, hoping someone might have seen or heard something unusual. To her surprise, she wasn't alone in her experiences. Other residents in the area had reported similar occurrences, all happening at the same time, 3:33 a.m. As word spread about the nocturnal visitor, the community banded together. They organized neighborhood watch groups and installed additional security measures. But despite their efforts, the mysterious man continued his nightly ritual, always vanishing without a trace before anyone could confront him. Local law enforcement became involved, but even they were baffled by the case. The man seemed to appear and disappear at will, leaving no physical evidence behind. Some officers began to wonder if they were dealing with something beyond their understanding. Theories about the man's identity ran wild. Some believed he was a ghost, doomed to repeat his actions for eternity. Others speculated that he was a time traveler, stuck in a loop that brought him back to this moment night after night. A few even suggested that he might be an interdimensional being, slipping between realities at precisely 3:33 a.m. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah's life became consumed by the mystery. She installed more cameras, motion sensors, and even considered hiring a private investigator. But no matter what measures she took, the man always seemed to be one step ahead. The toll on Sarah's mental health was immense. She found herself unable to sleep, constantly on edge as she waited for the nightly visitation. Her work suffered, and her relationships began to strain under the weight of her obsession with uncovering the truth. Just when Sarah thought she couldn't take it anymore, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. An elderly neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, approached her with a weathered old photograph. In it, Sarah saw a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to the figure in her video footage. Mrs. Thompson explained that the man in the photo was her great-grandfather, who had lived in Sarah's house over a century ago. According to family legend, he had been a clockmaker who became obsessed with the concept of time. In his final days, he claimed to have discovered a way to manipulate time itself, but disappeared before he could reveal his secrets. Could it be that this man, trapped between worlds, was still trying to complete his life's work? Was Sarah's house the key to unlocking the mysteries of time itself? As she pondered these questions, Sarah realized that her journey was far from over. The nightly visits at 3:33 a.m. were not just a haunting. They were an invitation to unravel a mystery that spanned generations. As the video draws to a close, we're left with more questions than answers. The case of the man who knocked every night at 3:33 remains unsolved, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are beyond our understanding. But one thing is certain, Sarah's story is far from over. If you've enjoyed this tale of nocturnal terror and time-bending mystery, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling stories. And be sure to leave a comment below, sharing your theories about the mysterious man. Who knows? Your insight might just help unlock the secrets of the 333 knocker. Until next time, sleep tight. And maybe keep one eye on the clock. The door creaked open as I stepped into my dimly lit apartment. Exhaustion weighed heavily on my shoulders after a long day at work. All I wanted was to collapse into bed and drift off to sleep. But as I shuffled towards my bedroom, an eerie sensation crept over me. Something felt off. I pushed open the bedroom door, my heart pounding in my chest. And there, illuminated by the soft glow of the bedside lamp, was a sight that made my blood run cold. There, in my own bed, was me. Or rather, someone who looked exactly like me, peacefully slumbering beneath the covers. For a moment, I stood frozen in disbelief, convinced I must be hallucinating from fatigue. I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, but the impossible scene before me remained unchanged. My doppelganger continued to breathe softly, oblivious to my presence. Panic rising in my throat, I stumbled backward out of the room. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what I'd just witnessed. Was this some elaborate prank? A vivid dream? Or had I finally lost my grip on reality? Taking a deep breath to steady myself, I crept back towards the bedroom. I had to confront this, to prove to myself I wasn't going mad. As I approached the bed, the figure stirred. My heart nearly stopped as my double's eyes fluttered open, fixing me with a cold, calculating stare. Who ... What are you? I managed to choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. The doppelganger sat up slowly, a chilling smile spreading across its face, my face. I think you know exactly who I am, it replied, its voice a perfect mirror of my own. I shook my head in denial, backing away as the creature rose from the bed. This isn't possible. You can't be real. Oh, but I am, my double said, advancing towards me with predatory grace. I'm more real than you could ever imagine. Panic overwhelmed me, and I turned to flee. But as I reached for the doorknob, I felt a hand grasp my shoulder, spinning me around. I found myself face to face with my own visage, twisted into a mask of malevolent glee. I am not the real you, the doppelganger hissed, its grip tightening painfully. I am taking this life now. Terror coursed through my veins as the full horror of the situation dawned on me. This wasn't just some bizarre occurrence. It was an invasion, a usurpation of my very existence. My mind reeled, grasping for some way to fight back, to reclaim what was rightfully mine. But as I stared into those familiar yet alien eyes, I realized with sickening clarity that I was utterly outmatched. This creature wore my face, knew my thoughts, possessed my memories. How could I possibly hope to defeat it? The doppelganger's laughter echoed through the room, a chilling sound that sent shivers down my spine. Don't bother trying to resist, it sneered. Your life is mine now. Your friends, your family, your job, they're all mine. I struggled against its iron grip, desperation lending me strength. You can't do this, I cried out. I won't let you. But my protests fell on deaf ears. With inhuman strength, the creature shoved me backwards. I stumbled, losing my balance and crashing to the floor. As I lay there, dazed and disoriented, I watched in horror as my double calmly walked out of the room, closing the door behind it. Scrambling to my feet, I rushed to the door, only to find it locked from the outside. I pounded my fists against the unyielding wood, screaming for help, but deep down, I knew it was futile. Who would believe me? Who would even hear me? As the reality of my situation sank in, a wave of despair washed over me. I slumped to the floor, my back against the door, and buried my face in my hands. How had this happened? What cruel twist of fate had brought this nightmare into my life? Outside, I could hear the sounds of my doppelganger moving about the apartment, settling into its stolen life with casual ease. And here I sat, trapped and helpless, a prisoner in my own home. As the night wore on, my mind raced with questions. What would become of me now? How long before someone noticed something was amiss? And even if they did, would anyone believe the truth? One thing was certain. My life, as I knew it, was over. The creature wearing my face had won, and I was left with nothing but the cold comfort of knowing the truth. A truth that no one else would ever believe. If you've enjoyed this chilling tale of identity theft, taken to its most terrifying extreme, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. Your support helps keep the nightmares coming, and who knows, maybe next time the story could be about you.